Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Policing Pips. Day trading futures live every single day, 8:30 till 11 Central Time. Usually I check this every single day to see, what the news is for the day to make sure I didn't miss anything. And this little guy popped out on me here. This non-farm payroll annual revision. That was not there when I did my weekly write-up. So just be aware that there could always be something else that's in the market that's coming out that's news related. The Jackson Hole Symposium is going on. Obviously, we're doing all that interesting stuff. But just note that 9 o'clock, we are going to get definitely some sort of reaction to whatever this happens to be, right? And sometimes there's some unexpected stuff, sometimes there's expected things. And then at the end of the day, you're going to get the FOMC minutes. Obviously, we know what they said last meeting, so it's not really a surprise. Shouldn't move markets too much, but if they revise that, take out some words and some verbiage and stuff, we would like to make sure we note that and all that fun stuff. From yesterday, we are in the same range, right? Yesterday's range here. This is all the entire session. Play with that 760 number, play with the 900 number, and then basically just bounce between 760 and 18,864 and a quarter, which is now the overnight high, which we could look for that next rotation staying inside until 9 o'clock. So I will watch the breach of the overnight high, see what kind of reaction we get from it. Same deal on the S&Ps, just same tight inside range type day. We expected that to be the type of price action we were going to get on a day after where it ground higher steadily over no news. So just going to wait, see what we have coming, and go from there. As always, we got to start our day off right with the short squeeze espresso. And then we have our backup here, the Don't Do Dumb Shit mug. As of right now, right, we are going to open near this overnight high, not at it. Not like yesterday where we opened on the low and we could immediately take that trade right off the jump because it's set up. It's not setting up currently for that type of price action to play out. So I'm going to just make sure that VWAP is correct. That opening range is gone, so we're gonna use this label in a few minutes here. Looks like it's going to be probably pushing down into VWAP. It would be nice to see a nice little, if we do this wedge break pop to the high side, it'd be good. We are holding above 841. 841 is one of my key structure levels. So if we do hold and return to the upside, it could make sense to rotate and have an expansionary day. But before that 9 o'clock NFP number revision, that is going to be something that maybe keeps us rotational until then, breaks us back down below 41, back towards 760 to play a bounce. But we do have overnight lows down here at 785. So if we get down into that 785, 50, we could rotate off that as well. So let's just be patient. Let this market tell us what it wants to do. If we get our setup, take it. If it plays out, it plays out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We are still working these combines, right? All right, we got less than a minute here. Let's just make sure 10 seconds. Delta is good. 831 has a little bit of size on it at 41 contracts. So let's see. Now open, ready to go for here. Nice little dump off straight towards the VWAP. We'll adjust this as it plays, but currently that's the opening range right there. Current 1 minute opening range, just dancing around as kind of expected towards VWAP. Want to see that S&P get up over that 56.33 and three quarters. Nvidia is pushing down into that 126.97 level that we watched yesterday. Microsoft as selling off into that open right towards that 422.51. That also is the level from yesterday. So if it finds support there, we can definitely watch that. The opening range is now established. We are above it at the higher end, closing towards the top end. Does not mean much until this does settle in and give us some directionality and give us a real good reason to pick a direction. You do have this little bit of a wedge type action forming. I'm going to wait and see, be patient with it, see if we rotate to either end, overnight low or overnight high, to catch some sort of movement. Right, I'm not going to leave that up there. I'm going to put the Nvidia on top. And Microsoft's on the bottom. Get rid of this one because it's only relative to NASDAQ. So here you go with the Microsoft pushing down towards 422.51 and didn't quite make it there yet, right? There's the price action we got there. Nvidia up on top, holding on top of 126.97, right? That's definitely key structure from yesterday as well. So wait to see what kind of action we get. Do we flush into 126.52 or even lower and push all the way down to 125.34? I can think that we don't get a ton of opportunity until after that 9 o'clock, whatever that non-farm revision is. Seems like something that would interest market making activity, algorithmic bot movement. Maybe they're going to revise it to show that the jobs are much better than they are. Then in that case, you would expect the market to rally a bit off that news. If they revise it to where it's going to push it to the downside, then I would anticipate downside pressure. See that overnight low really acting as support pretty much the entire night. Could look to get early entries anywhere from 800 down to 90, but I would like to see my A plus kind of sweep of that level, right? Just hanging out in that opening range. I'm going to give the S&Ps the opening range as well. Microsoft still pushing downside. Nvidia did a little bit of a bounce off of 126.97, cleaned up the pre-market high, just barely got to that pre-market high there. It looks like kind of ran right into it and then sold off from there. So we'll watch that. Looks like it's going to be heavy in the NQ, relatively weak compared to the S&Ps. So S&P is lagging just a touch, could be holding us up stronger or lagging behind. A lot of what I'm going to do today. Yesterday, you saw how aggressive we were right on the open, right? Not every day is going to be like that. Today, I told you kind of coming into it, we're not going to be as aggressive. You're opening near overnight highs in an uptrend type environment. You're not at the overnight highs. You're not really in an area where I would look to have had shorted it, even though it is coming to the downside, but it's not the kind of move that I was going to look for right off the jump, right? So some days I'm here ready to click that button at 8:30 and 1 second. And some days I'm looking to wait all the way till 11 o'clock to get my setup and maybe not even get it at all, right? So even though we are in combines, we're not going to just hammer into any old execution. We're going to wait and see what we can get out of this market. Nvidia is holding 126.97. Microsoft never made it down to 422.50. It got to 422.65 is the low for Microsoft. So that's a good area of support for it, even though it never made it to the main key actual level. High of the day from yesterday is 19,924 and 3/4. Overnight high is 19,864. If we get a rejection of the overnight high here on the S&Ps and are below the opening range in the NASDAQ, I would anticipate S&Ps to reject that level. Maybe we'll start to take a look at the short on the S&P side as opposed to the NQ. But, you know, if we're going to rally like this on both, there's a chance that we push up into 900, then fail 900, because 900 is a key level, right? That white line, we did push up in through it yesterday, overnight, day before. We had that really nice pressure to the upside. Really less, what it showed was lack of sellers more than it showed like really aggressive buyers. So I think we're just in that uptrend kind of environment. Nvidia caught that bounce. Microsoft caught that bounce. Nvidia making new highs of day. So NVIDIA new high of day. Microsoft bouncing from lows. So expect a little bit of a pop, right? NVIDIA there pushing upside. It does have, that's the pre-market high that it cracked. We have to that consolidated high of basically 128.50. It's that zone, that area where I would be interested in this to kind of run up to and pull back off of. And then 129.12 was, you could see it was support, broke, could come back. It was resistance there. So just if it continues upside, that's where that upside target would be. Downside, you crack through 126.97 just like yesterday. You try to flush all the way down to 125.34. Sorry. What's going on? Hold on a second. Let me switch this up. Here we go. I don't know why it keeps doing that, but there we go. Back to the main room. Still seeing that price is inside the opening range. Absolutely nothing that you want to do with that at the moment, right? Sitting on top of VWAP inside the opening range. Maybe, if anything, it's showing that it's holding some strength into this, but you got really heavy sellers, aggressive sellers that came in from 825 all the way into the open. Very aggressive sellers. Price did not push down as aggressively as you would have liked. I did say that there was some size at 31, so maybe that fill at 31 flushed us down now to rotate us back to the high side. Russell is just going straight down, and we are just dancing in the middle here. So as I mentioned, we may not execute anything until after that 9 o'clock number, but the data release that comes out at 9, the new non-farm revision. All right. Just do your best to, it's one of those days where you got to be understanding of the price action, what kind of day it's going to be. Could this, lead to an upside pressure? Absolutely. But could this be a trap where it gets us to our overnight high, fails at overnight high, rotates down? Absolutely. That's exactly what I would like to be looking for, right? For my strategy is to push up over the overnight highs, get a failure of that 64 up to 70, even 80, and then rotate back down to this opening range and at least get off, a contract there, and then hopefully rotate down to overnight lows, just staying inside on the day. So that's where I would be looking. You can see S&P is testing that overnight high right now. We're not quite there in the NQ. I would like to see it catch up, maybe start to see the failure in the S&Ps, and then get the rotation downside. If some of you saw my Instagram post last night, I was trying to watch some bookmap videos. I do want to add the actual bookmap, into this analysis. I do use the Surface Dome in the Quant Tower platform, and I think it's really useful. It helps me with a lot of iceberg order stuff and whatnot, but I really want to start getting involved in that bookmap. I think there's a lot of really good data that comes in there. So if we can see the failure of this, that would be really optimal. I need this to get up over 70, probably up into 80. That would be really a good play there. With NVIDIA's failing that high. It just needs to get up a little higher. 128.50, I mentioned NVIDIA. We're currently at 128.25. Microsoft's pushing up into VWAP. But Microsoft could sell from here too, which would help us out a lot. I want this up a little higher there. Come on, NQ. If it gets up over here and fails, that's our strategy, right? Failing overnight highs, failing breakouts, playing rotational type price action, trapping behavior. That would constitute a trap here. This could have been the trap, right? We talked about this kind of setup quite a bit, where you get the price to do this, where it has some sort of action. It traps to the short side, pushes up, stops out all these liquidity here. Now that there's people that would buy into the sell, then you could sell and rotate it down that direction. And then obviously do the same to the lows here. That's really what I would be looking for if I can get up over the overnight highs. It's very reluctant to get there because the S&P is already failing its overnight highs. NVIDIA is still strong enough to where it could push us up a little higher. Microsoft's still pretty showing relatively that it wants to push up, but it could easily fail as well. If this does fail this level right here, S&Ps is probably the way to go. I don't trust it yet just based on where NVIDIA is. I want to be able to time my entry correctly. If this is it and that's the entry I could have gotten, then it is what it is. I'm not going to just chase it. You're up, 3 points-ish in the S&Ps already. Maybe this last little sip of short squeeze espresso will pop its head up over the overnight high. Nope. That 41 level right there, that's going to be the strong decision point. Still, 19,841. That's where I would have liked to have targeted for a pullback. Not necessarily going to take a long or a short through that area. I just want to note that 841 is important. Delete this. This looked like a trap to get shorts stopped out up here. I still think that that's possible. Microsoft sold off. NVIDIA sold off. Everything kind of came into play perfectly for this to be a failed breakout of the overnight high, but we never made it there. And S&Ps held strong and then failed it. And then as soon as it failed it, my NQ took the sell side pressure and kind of went with it. But still nothing that's an A-plus setup for me. It's nothing that's explosive, not high volume, nothing that's really of note. I'm just kind of looking over this to see if there was anything that would have told me otherwise to take that short, which not really. I mean, maybe over 56. That 56 level was, structure points, but even this previous high here is still too high. Nice little sell-off right through 41, maybe a flush of 41 to give us a pop. Microsoft pushing down towards 422.51. See if it cracks low of the day of 65. If you're over on YouTube, hit the like button, understanding that we are here every single day trying our best to help everybody out. Want to help that algorithm a little bit. Hit the like, the subscribe, all that. Bring a friend if you do come in. Maybe that's somebody that you think would be interested in trading or interested in what I have to offer. And I'm not going to promise you anything, but good analysis on a day-to-day basis and consistency through and through, and an honest opinion of what I think is actually going on in the markets and how to trade. Alrighty. Once again, never made it to the overnight high. S&Ps did and failed it again. It's not failing it. It's rejecting it currently. Let's see if this 1 minute candle will close above or below it. We do have price trying to make new highs, Delta not making new highs. That's the divergence that we like to see as well, right? I'm getting a little lag in my data here a little bit, so I'm going to be a little cautious as well. You can see how tight the value area is. Very, very tight for the day so far. I like the way that Delta is relatively weak. I like the strength pushing through here. I did like to the long idea. I sneeze. All right, get up over that. Give me a little squeeze up to 80 and then fail it. I'm not taking that if it does it right there. S&Ps I may consider taking a short through the 56.32 if it comes in and fails that. But I don't trust it right now. Microsoft seems like it's accumulating for a long. My game plan is failed breakouts of key structure levels. If this is a confirmed breakout, then I don't have an entry, right? But if it's going to fail it, then we're going to watch and see what kind of volume we get on this. See if there's any size. See that Delta candle no longer diverged. This time it wouldn't follow through. That time it wouldn't follow through. Finally, you break through. This time, strong push to the high side. There are arresting orders overhead in the 70s up into 80s, and I would watch 900. I don't want to just hammer in limit orders. That's why I don't just hammer in a limit order at my overnight levels. I'm gonna wait. I'll start this. Stop sell 2, limit 1. That's gonna. If it's gonna fail, I'll take it. If not, then it's gonna go run my face off from the high side. Pushing down, pushing down, pushing down up to. There we go. Short through that level. Took one off there. So now we're going to let this one run. See how far down we can take it. I'm going to go just past even. And I'm going to just let it go. Kramer, buy them from me, dude. I'll just text me. Text me, dog. If you're in person and you want to buy coffee, or if you see me in person, hit me up. Most of the actual roasts, the beans and all that stuff, I would like to have you order straight from the roaster. But a K-Cup stuff, I will do directly. All right, so we're flat. We're up 230. Just checking on all of them, make sure they're all good. I could have left the stop over the high, but I don't trust that this isn't strong. That's why I took that one contract off right at that breakout support, that retest. So we took one contract off there, let the other one ride at break even, and clearly, we're probably still safe if we would have left it over the overnight high. But I want to make sure I secure, especially that first trade there of the day. There's nothing that's going to tell me that not to take the breakdown of this level either. So watch that support there. S&P is just trying to get back above it. I would expect overnight highs to get broken again, potentially, if we're going to go that way. NVIDIA is looking like it wants to get heavy from the top, although it is not breaking through that trend line there. So it could continue to go kind of straight up. Pushing into that 9 o'clock number, I also want to just be flat. Microsoft looking like it wants to catch a bounce from this 422.50. If it doesn't, right, if we just continue to flush this 422.50, then we'll get the full rotation in the NQ. Just let me know. If you are also, Kramer there said that he wanted to buy K-Cups. If you are interested in buying the bulk discount orders, hit me up via email, or there's forums within the website. You can always go there and say, hey, or DM me on Instagram, whatever you want to do, because I do offer bulk discounts on K-Cups. The more you order, the cheaper it is per cup. Really nice failure of that overnight high. I'm getting a little bit of lag as well in my internet. I don't know if it's the internet or if it's just connections at the moment. I probably should restart my stuff. So I'm not going to be entering at the moment, just noting that. So if you do see something that I might want to hammer into, I want to let my internet settle down a little bit. I'm also going to wait for that 9 o'clock information to populate. That I think that this non-farm revision is going to be actually really important to the rate cut decision rhetoric. So I will wait to see what happens with that. We are up 230 on the day here, just building ourselves back to the green side. One good trade at a time, totally fine. Taking one contract off there, I took the 2 contracts, took the one off. You could leave that one on for a runner. Like I said, I usually just, if I get that first contract off, I'll take that other one to break even and see where it goes to at least secure myself, $200 or whatever per, and then see how far down we could take it. But I think we could break down. Microsoft does look pretty heavy. NVIDIA is now cracking that trend line. Looking like 128 wants to break down. If 128 breaks and NVIDIA and Microsoft pushes down to 422.50, then we could still rotate downside. But this is all, the NQ is relatively strong, right? We're still holding near these overnight highs. It hasn't been a heavy flush yet. And that kind of makes me think that we want to push up to 900 if we can get the S&Ps to play along as well. If this kind of pushes up that direction, then maybe we continue up. But NVIDIA is still playing with that 128 level. If that gets heavy, this is the NVIDIA futures, basically. See that pop? Excuse me. The pop over that overnight high. Everything that I saw was telling me that this is more likely than not. So I'm going to take my quick little piece of that, knowing that no matter what, it's probably reactive. We're probably going to get at least a little bit of a pullback there. Taking it with the two contracts really is going to allow me to take one off and then rotate and take the other one at even or further down. NVIDIA looking like it wants to break 128. If it does, then we go. But we are very close to that number, and there could be a lot of manipulation here with that non-farm. So I'm gonna wait till after 9 to do any executions. Don't do dumb shit. Wait, be patient. Allow this thing to do its dance around that number, that 9 o'clock number. That non-farm revision is going to be, maybe it'll whip us around. Maybe it'll snap us upside. If it comes out and it's revised to any way where it may seem like the jobs report was skewed in the wrong direction, and it might affect that rate cut, then you may see this start to melt off quite heavy quite quickly, especially with the minutes later today. Kind of they'll be able to see that. Take your $200 base hit. Hell yeah. I'm glad you were able to catch that there, Ray. See that divergence, see that setup. With that kind of aggressive buyer coming in on this candle here, with that little bit of increase in volume, you would have anticipated that to push up harder, quicker. And so we definitely got the break of the S&P first, which gave us the confidence to take that first break and at least get that one contract, get it off. If you only took one, then you're pretty much safe at the moment. 5 minutes till this number comes out. S&P's showing strength really right here once again, trying to hold above that level there. Anything that's holding above this overnight high is going to be interesting. Yeah, 100%. I think that, you could have took it again. Just with that number coming out at 9, it just kind of made me reluctant to take anything that, even within 10 minutes of it, the price action is going to start to get thin. There's going to be some interesting things coming out with this non-farm revision. I want to see that whippy price action. I want to note where it kind of stops, where it ends on both directions, where the liquidity shows and where it doesn't. I'm going to pop this up. You can see rising price, trying to make new highs again, and still diminishing delta. So less aggressive less aggressive buyers up here at the top. I want this up here. I want this up here. There we go. I'm going to get rid of this because it's not necessarily important at the moment. You can see these kind of pops. I don't know if they're trusting, I don't know, pushing into the number, that kind of price to push up. I would expect 900 to come in. I also want to see NVIDIA. Nice strong push. Microsoft at VWAP. I was talking about how it looked like it was accumulating buyers down there at the low of 422, 92, 423. I don't like I was talking about early in the week, even in my write-up. Let's see, at 900 there's 76 contracts, so there's 76 plus probably more up at 900 right now. 900. You can see right there 975 contracts sitting right there. What I was talking about was 20,000 coming into play this week. As you hold that 760 level, you're going to see all-time highs at some point before the rate decision on September 18th. That's if this number today comes out in line and better or whatever. It's going to revise worse or better. It's going to be the question. If I do take any sort of trade off of this, it's going to be a single contract. Gonna let 900 kind of either get filled and ran or front run and sold off. Still gonna play that price level. You can see how reactive this trend line here is, and that's not something that I normally play too strongly. But look at how once, twice, three times bouncing from that level. You got a minute and a half left till that number comes out. We got to see if this is going to lead to any sort of really big moves. Is it going to break us out of that previous 2-day range? I think more likely than not, they're going to revise it to where it seems better so that they do cut rates, whether it be true or not. It's kind of up to you to determine. It doesn't really matter, right? We're just traders, so we don't care about anything but today's price action. If we break opening range low, I would take a short. $67 long. Interesting. I would like to see 900 fill and then fail. Look at that. Thinning out of that book. Very widespread. I don't know what this information told us, but all I know is it went up. Right? We're getting into that 900 level there. We didn't get I didn't get an alert telling me that number came out or anything. This didn't come out. Nothing. There's no information in it, right? Traders add to Fed easing bets. I don't see any information from it. Financial Juice got nothing. Yeah, still got nothing in Financial Juice. There's nothing. This is literally just based on it being 9 o'clock. That nothing came out. There's no information yet. So be cautious, be flat. Don't go crazy doing things. There's nothing that you're going to get out of this right now. Wait, be patient, sit on your hands. There's no reason to be executing if you don't know what this non-farm revision is going to be. No information has come out from it. That was all pure technically based on sweeping 900. If we get a really aggressive seller popping in, I think overnight lows could come in. So like I said, I would be interested in potentially maybe shorting through that opening range low, but like I'm not gonna just start entering orders with unknown data just lingering out there. That's very manipulative. I would like to see something tell me anything. Anything here would be nice. If you're going to release data at an hour, then it would be good to actually release it. It was a random thing that appeared today that I didn't know was coming out, right? So I just wanted to be. I'm glad that I was at least aware of it being out there. I did mention that 900 should probably get swept. So everything kind of still in line with normal technical analysis and breakdown. NVIDIA is going to high of day currently. Microsoft dancing around with VWAP. All right. Still got nothing going on. This data did not come out yet. Still no information on it. Yeah, I don't have anything on this. Financial Juice would tell me it would populate. Trading Economics would populate. Nothing. Almost it was like they put it out there for there to be news and then there was no news. It's kind of what it seems at the moment. So, I mean, either way, I have nothing anyway up here. I would like to see maybe we get a little bit of something, something up at the previous day highs. It's amazing to see that manipulation. It's very weird because everybody knew that number is coming or whatever this data release is was coming. The 9 o'clock hit and it just manipulated to the high side with zero news. It was literally just because that 9 o'clock had something coming out. So does that prove that there was actually algos that do whatever at a specific time? Because that's not people, right? That's not people doing that. That's definitely computers. So, watching out for manipulations like that is very key to being successful in this. It makes it very difficult, right? Because if that's what you're going to run into on a day-to-day basis, you would like to be cautious on it. I am, even though we are at 900, a very key level, I'm sort of at no man's land right now. I'm not going to enter it right now until I get some more, of my information, overnight highs, previous day highs, overnight lows. We're up. We made 230 across 3 accounts. If this is an XFA, that's a payout. Successful winning day, right? We are still building this back to green, right? The goal is to be back funded fully by September. So I'm not really looking to go crazy. If I could just take my base hits day in and day out. We have one that's up over 50. This one, 50, almost 51. That's at 50-ish. This is at 50-ish, just shy. This is all because of Monday's debauchery, where I was right, but I was wrong. Timing was everything, right? I don't like this. I don't. No aggressive buyers up top. We have some size at 920, some size at 925. So 2 orders sitting there, both around 35, 40 contracts. So up above on the dome, you are seeing that. Absolutely. Every day I'll be here, Ray. You know me. If I can be here, I will. If I can't be here, you know where I find me. I think you'll do just fine in these baseball games, and then the itch is going to come back, and you're going to be having a problem where you're going to want to play more and more and more. If that's the case, then maybe we're going to have to start a old retired police department baseball team in the southeast. Is that a cash tournament? I after a couple of years ago, not a couple of years ago, last year or the no, it definitely was the end of 22. I got invited to some cash cash tournaments. I couldn't make that one because I had a broken hand after that season was over. I decided to not continue to push through the broken hand and let it heal. But that'd be cool if it was. Microsoft's acting very weird price action, right? That is not very convincing. Nvidia is kind of a lot cleaner here. You have that push up, breakdown, push up, pull back, 128.50, right? Was that level I was talking about before? I think we could get up to 129.12, but if this news does ever come out, this NFP revision, yeah, it's kind of nerve wracking, right? To think, are we going to get something to happen? Is this just going to start being technical breaks? I mean, like the dome is a lot cleaner again. Price action seems to be good. We are getting bigger fills here at 94. Not, I mean, I'm up 230. It's a good day so far. We took that short right there from the failed breakout of the overnight high. Normal strategy works like a charm once again. If I were you, like I said, slower trading months. Microsoft is giving us a little bit of a pullback. Not much. It's just lingering on VWAP. Nvidia is trying to break highs again. So we are just waiting. This could just be a slow, steady grind straight up again. Once I did talk about 20,000 coming into play this week, probably before the Thursday jobs number. I thought that was going to be kind of what pushed us up over that area. 20,000, 20,100 would probably be the ultimate high of the week. If we continue to hold over that 760 number, which is down here, right? I talked about 760 quite a bit. If you go into my write-up, you can see the very bottom of the write-up. If it's linked in the YouTube, it's pinned to the top of the YouTube. It's also going to be in TradeCaster. I'll post it here. Again, if you go into there, go to the very bottom of the page. I publish that every Sunday night. So if you want to get access to it, let me know. Go to the very bottom of the page. Just type in if you like it, if you don't like it, if you want me to add anything, take anything away. I know normally Charlie wants me to do gold. This week I got home really extra late, so I did it just how I normally do. But I will continue to add gold in there. I apologize for that this week. could be nice if we get up over that previous day high and we can get a failure there, because that may be coinciding with NVIDIA getting to 129.12. So you can see NVIDIA right there pushing up towards 129.12. If that pushes up over 129.12 and we start to get a failed rejection of that level, I think potentially we could get our trade to push up over previous day highs, and then we can get that same type of setup. Does it mean that it's going to reject and break and not continue on? It does not. I think that there's a chance that it still does continue on. I just want to take advantage of that initial failed break, or manipulation through and break down, pull back to 900 and then rotate back. I may not take it on 2 contracts. I may only take 1 contract on it, just because I'm not over leveraging this. I want to see what kind of move it'll be. Yeah, I think they're trapping. I definitely think so, Zuki. Absolutely. I think for the most part, this is grinding trappy behavior. I would like I said, I want to see NVIDIA get even higher. It would be really great if NVIDIA could at least touch off 129. It seems like they want to grind it up even further, even maybe a little bit more. If we do fail 900, then there's a chance that we rotate down. I'm not going to take that short. I think it's possible that it does work out because it is a key structure level. You are wedging out here. I think maybe you do get a break to push us up higher, but that number never came out, so it's kind of odd. It may break the market if it comes out. Maybe they didn't want to have the algos ready for it, because if they have red negative data, that it would probably melt us off, and they want to keep markets pushing up, going into the election, yada, yada, yada. I mean, there's a lot of manipulation. If you don't believe that there's manipulation, go get this book, Flash Boys. I have it on my table here. It's a good book. It just really kind of shows you the actual manipulation in the market, all the regulation that goes on that makes you feel like, okay, there's actually steps being taken to eliminate some of the high frequency trading stuff and some of the market manipulation. But there it is. There's the breakdown. Perfect break of 900. Really, really great break. I don't know if the number came out though. No. This is heavy. That would have gotten you quite a bit of money there. I just told you that you could short 900. It was probably a pretty clean break structurally. But personally, I wasn't going to take that, right? I may take the overnight break. That was purely a technical break. I didn't get a huge seller either. S&P's below. Yeah, I talked about that. I said I'm personally not shorting this. However, I think it's a good short. And then 1 minute later, wow, nice little melt there from 900 straight down to VWAP. I mean, that's my ideal strategy right there, but I wanted it up at that previous day high. Just because this is psychological doesn't mean I want to hammer it every single time, but boy, does this work. Just kind of being here on a day-to-day basis, listening, kind of understanding dynamics of what price wants to do, when it probably wants to do it, lulling you to sleep. If it wants to go in a direction, it's going to do it in a random time, but at key levels, right? So 9:14 a.m., you got that melt. I like failed breaks of overnight levels. So maybe if we get back above it into that level there and then fail it again, I can look to short it. If we get through the opening range low, potentially look to continue down overnight lows. But I'm going to just play the bounce from the overnight low. I'm not going to chase it. I'm not going to catch a falling knife. I'm not looking to buy it. I'm not looking to even find continuation in it currently, because still that number has not come out. So weird. Very weird. This could easily recover that entire move. 10 a.m. Not out yet. That's according to Financial Juice Eastern Time. Still not out. That might have been driven purely by somebody's news release saying that. Do I want to take the short through here or not? Give me a sweep this high here of 73 and then rotate down. Do that for me. I might try it again through my overnight highs, but that is rejecting. I'm not going to chase it right now. I'm going to wait. Let this thing do its thing a little bit. This weird lingering of a data release is very concerning. Something I don't want to get my face ripped off on. The sweep of 73 does give me the idea. S&P's below VWAP. Has S&P been... Nah. We're going to just sit on our hands. I do think that a failure of the overnight low does get us back to VWAP again and possibly through the opening range low. Yeah, put our money where our mouth is. Stop sell one below that level. If it gets there, it gets there. If it doesn't, then we don't get triggered. Back up over VWAP on the S&Ps. Microsoft pushing up to highs. And NVIDIA swept down to 128, held 128 even, and now is rotating back up. Like I said, there's a good chance that this just recovers immediately and comes right back to the top. I just have this set here in case it wants to just snap and give me that big melt. I don't necessarily trust that that's what's going to happen. That's why I didn't take the short there immediately. I wanted to let it dance around, and then if it did sweep this high here and then flush and push back down, then we were going to take it. But right now, that's canceled. No more. I want to just make sure it's not out there on any of these. We're good. There's no active orders, no pending orders. Everything's canceled. Good. All right. 73% long on crude oil. I don't watch crude as much, but 73% long seems quite heavy long for a crude. 61% long in the NASDAQ and 60% long in the S&Ps. If that starts to get up over that previous day high and trap some of these... Yeah. Zuka-san, you're telling me, man, wow is the only thing you could say about what that was, right? I mean, we talked about it. I talked about the immediate recovery of it. I just feel like this is weird, right? So this is 9/14, right? BLS payroll revisions scheduled for 10 a.m. Eastern, not out yet. That happened at 9/14, that release. This sell-off happened 9/14. I feel like the algos are reading this. Any headline that says revision, they're snapping it. They're doing it. Yes, it's at a key level, so that's a good reason for it to go short. You know, if you just took this technically and it happened to coincide with that timing of that data release, then you're great. You're doing good. Realistically, this is not healthy. This is driven by computers currently, and you got to recognize that number when that popped, that data release, this little thing that said it came out, that said revision but not out. They didn't read the not out yet. So payroll revisions, they sold it immediately, and then after that, yeah. Watch anything that says revision is going to snap this market around like a rag doll. This could be a good grab of liquidity, however, right? I don't trust this market currently, and I also want Nvidia up to 129 at least before I want to go short. I don't want this to trap me in a short and it goes long. I also don't trust this type of price action. It's very difficult to manage your risk in this kind of environment. Although it seems very profitable, and I did talk about shorting 900 right before that happened, and I said I am not doing this, but you could do it if you want to. You would have yielded quite a nice trade there in 2 minutes. You would have been up quite nice. But I also spoke about the recovery of it pretty much immediately, and that happened as well. I think realistically what you need to do is be cautious and understand that even though price is moving like this, it's slightly unpredictable, and when and if that number comes out or whatever this revision is, this you're going to get very snappy illiquid behavior. You're going to get slips. People are going to complain, oh, Top Step didn't fill me at this, because they don't understand actual market how it actually works. Like, just because you have a stop here, or just because you have an entry or whatever, just because you put market order in, doesn't mean you're getting filled at that what the price is on the chart. This is just a visual representation of what the level 2s are showing. You hit market order, you're going to immediately be out of the money, right? Because there's a bid-ask spread. You're going to be hitting either the bid or you're going to be hitting the ask, depending on which way you're going, right? With the simulated trading, they're hitting the last fill. If you get one of these moves and there's no fills, like for a point and a half, you're going to get filled and slipped all the way down. And you're going to be like, how come I didn't get filled all the way up here? Well, because there was no orders there. Nothing ever got filled in between here. This was immediate. This was a snap. If price moves that fast, it's very unlikely that price fills at every single price point, every single tick all the way down. It is expanding. When you get that kind of price action, that is sometimes, in the equities world, that's where halts come into play, because you're getting too much spread. You're getting crosses of bid and ask. It's very sloppy. This is the kind of environment where you avoid it. It's a lower volume, illiquid, trappy price action where you're going to get yourself into trouble. Yes, you could have made good money there because I talked about the short purely technically. However, it easily could have snapped the other way and went long, right? So just understand that based on these releases. U.S. employment rose 1.3% in the year through March 2024, according to the quarterly census of employment and wages. Employment rose 1.3%. So watch this market to the upside. It didn't say anything about the revision. It didn't say the word revision, so it didn't snap the algos. But we got this employment rose 1.3% through March. So you didn't get the data, but you could expect a move if they do say the word revision in any, or maybe the algos gave up and now you're going to get true price. There we go. There's some movement. There's some sloppy price movement. I want to check this. Heavy delta, heavy selling. We were seeing that start up here, heavier delta, price going down. Yeah, I'm just going to be cautious and patient and let this thing dance around a bit for the rest of this part here. The revision delayed, set to release at 1:30 p.m., Clay says. Good to note. That is not good, I would guess, because they probably don't like it. But we did get a release here saying employment rose 1.3%. So I don't know if that's just the previous one and they just kind of released that. Where'd you find the delay release? Was it on Bloomberg or something? Twitter, that works too. I usually use Twitter as well. I like the financial juice because it stacks everything together. I don't know where we got this number then, if that's realistic. If they're gonna revise after 1:30, They probably anticipate whatever this FOMC minutes is going to be to kind of guide and revise as well in a way that is going to be softening of whatever this says. So if that is where that comes out to be, then that's even more manipulation within the markets, right? If they, this actually wasn't here before today, so it just magically appeared, and then they say, oh, we're not going to do it now because I don't like the way it looks. Dangerous, right? I appreciate the feedback there, Clay. I don't normally see you in the conversation, but it's always nice to see a new face actually typing stuff out and being a part of the news source, because we all need all eyes that we could possibly have to kind of aggregate sources and whatnot. So I appreciate that. X.com. I only follow financial people, and none of this is financial stuff. There we go. Following. U.S. employment rose 1.3% in the year through March 2024. So investing.com saying that they did show this revision, but I don't know if that's going to be the actual revision or if it's going to be, based on the way they said it, it doesn't seem like it's manipulating based on algos as much. You are getting some pullback here. I think maybe a break of 900 gives us the push. I would like to see NVIDIA up to 129 before I do decide to take any sort of short action. And I mentioned in my write-up, if we go here to the write-up, you can see that data was not here, right? No red folder for today besides the FOMC. If you go to the write-up and you see that we got the 610 being the bullish bearish line in the sand, we opened there, we pushed up to 19,760. When we got to 760, I anticipated the squeeze to 841, which was what we got on Monday. And then every kind of step of the way, we're going to push up to 20 grand. So 20,000 is right there. It's going to be a magnet. And then up to 2270, probably the ultimate high of the week if we get there. That's going to be based on the jobless claims number on Thursday. If that comes out where it is going to pretty much all but guarantee the rate cut, then we will see 20,270 by Thursday or Friday. Then all-time highs before that rate cut. And then I would anticipate a drop. Also, historically, Jackson Hole does lead to some selling. I don't know how much realistically. Yeah, 100% Zuki. Really kind of what I'm preaching here, right? With the don't do dumb shit mug, the don't do dumb shit attitude, right? It's kind of a big, broad generality of, not doing dumb shit in terms of understanding what is coming, noting it, knowing what kind of market environment we're in, knowing when's a really good time to be in and executing and hammering in trades, and when's a really good time to kind of maybe take a step back, maybe even size down if you really feel the need to push the buttons and get a setup or whatever you're looking at. Is where I'm kind of a little bit more standoffish, where I don't want to be in this. It's a low volume month, right? August is historically crappy to trade. It's still summer, right? So it's a Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. You're going to get that jobless number tomorrow, which is going to actually push us out. So usually when you get something that's going to drive markets, that's more of a better release. The day before, the few days before, you're not going to get as clean. You're not going to get as many actual big market participants executing. A lot of what you're going to see is algo whips and movement up and down. That's not really conducive to a healthy risk management standpoint, right? Where you're able to kind of take your trades and go, could I have executed that? Absolutely. I talked about it literally probably less than a minute before it happened, right? I talked about how 900 probably fails this and you could short it, potentially rotate it back to VWAP and right there. But I did say I'm not going to take it, personally, because of that number release and the uncertainty. I wasn't going to set an order here for it to whip me in, fail, and then go to the moon. And then, like I was talking about with the slippage, what people don't understand is, like, I could have got triggered into this and had to stop at $200, maybe just over the high, and price could have jumped to the previous day high like that and blow past my stop in this type of news driven algo leap. I could have slipped from 2 to 500 or even more, and people don't understand that that's a danger of electronic trading. That they will blame platforms, they'll blame everybody but themselves. Extreme accountability is what I like to preach. At the end of the day, it is you versus you. It is you versus the market. But you have to take accountability. You have to be the one to say, I did this. No matter what. I put the order on. I put the order out there. I let the market do what it wanted with me. Yes, there is manipulation. Yes, there is slippage. Yes, there is shady stuff that goes on in these stock markets and the futures market and in the Forex world. Like in the markets, there is manipulation. So you have to understand that you can avoid it do it the best you can, avoid that, and get yourself involved in the market when the probabilities are highest, when you're able to execute and be clean and take price action that's going to be appropriate, more natural, less manipulation. There is always going to be manipulation, but understanding the days where there's supposed to be a data or there wasn't supposed to be a data release, they show it. It's almost like they spoofed a data release to get price to go in a certain direction, right? That's basically spoofing on a news level, which is spoofing is illegal, right? You put that out there and then you pull it back, right? So it's very odd. Negative 818. It just dropped. The non-farm reported at negative 818,000. It just dropped just now. Negative 818. It's just a random time. 9:33 a.m. just decides, Clay was talking about that it could be moved to 1:30, and now all of a sudden it drops now. So leaving everybody uncertain, putting out this news release, spoofing it, getting people to pull out. This is not good. Negative 800. We kind of all knew that the non-farm numbers have been inflated, but that is a big difference. Negative 818,000 annually. That's a lot of jobs. 800,000 jobs. Because most of the other numbers, they've been spoofing it up, it seems, where they've been saying, oh, yeah, it's been good. We've been good data. Good, we have all these jobs. The non-farm jobs are showing temporary jobs. They're showing, other things that are part-time, not full-time job. There's definitely a pullback in full-time actual data. So they were manipulating the markets to show a little bit better so they can push this market up pre-election season potentially. Then they're forced to revise it today at negative 818,000 year over year. And this is not doing anything at the moment, which is interesting, right? This should have moved the market now, which it didn't. So maybe because they moved it away from that hourly release and then off of the half hour at 9:33, maybe that scared the algos and they weren't able to react to that number. So, but I'm still kind of just cautious on the day. I'm going to let price tell me what to do now at this point. I'm up. If you're up on the day already, you took a good trade early. I took that short. Look at that little piece. I don't need huge moves to make $200 and something a day copied across multiple accounts, right? That's just how we do it here. We're looking for just good opportunities to give ourselves high probability executions, to take little pieces of big moves and move on. I talked about that short there at 900. I'm going to be saying that markets move doesn't mean that trades always happen, right? My setup, yes, it was there, but there was that looming release that I did not want to be involved in, right? So now you're seeing a negative number propping this market up, which is another, who knows what that means. Maybe the market doesn't want a rate cut, and we're all thinking that the markets want a rate cut. They're pricing in a rate cut. I think that they are pricing in not cutting, and they like that. There's the banger long off that overnight high. And as I mentioned, 20,000 is now probably in play. I will not short this until Nvidia's up over 129. If it fails immediately here, I'm not playing with that. If you like the analysis, if you're on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We are here every day, 8:30 a.m. Central till 11 Central. Not 10, 11 Central time. I do have a day job. I do try and run the coffee company in between and all that fun stuff. And on my days off, I try to do things with the family as best I can. This is the realities of trading. I try my best to present the day-to-day grind of it. Win, lose, draw, whatever. If we take no trades, we take some trades. We take big trades, we take losers. What we try to do is just kind of preach that mentality of don't do dumb shit. Be out here, only execute when your A-plus setup comes into play. Trading less is actually more beneficial to you. Like I said, if you're over on Tradecaster, subscribe. Don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. The more people I get to subscribe, the more people that come in every day, the more I can prove to Deck that I'm of value to the community. Absolutely, Clay. Welcome in. I appreciate you coming to the room. It's always nice to see new faces, new communication. We usually have a few people that comment in here quite a bit. It is a Wednesday. It's usually kind of a slower day, and some of the people who comment come in a little later. And some of them are in Dubai, and some of them are overseas, so they might even be close to just not trading for the day, especially with this kind of crappy price action that we've been seeing here. Obviously, you saw the selling there. Clay, if you're new to futures, and are you trading prop? Are you trading your own account? How are you approaching futures, and what's your game plan? Because what I want to try and do anytime somebody comes in here and they have an idea of what they want and where they're trying to take this, we'll go from there. Did you trade FX first and you're switching over to futures, or were you a stock guy and you're like, futures seems a lot easier because I could just focus on one thing at a time? Or are you just new to trading altogether? 2 Apex funded accounts. Very nice. I like it. Well, if you want to get into Top Step, they're getting rid of the affiliate program. So if you want it, I have my affiliate link. Maybe I gotta pull it up. They're gonna get rid of it. I'm just trying to share it as much as I can. I do run Day Trading Coffee Company. That's I'm trying to partner with Top Step. So some of the coffee that we sell, a percentage of that is going to go to a funding fund. The funding fund, I'm going to start giving away combines. I'm going to start giving away cash accounts. So we partner with some of these companies. I haven't fully partnered with Top Step, but I'm trying to show them interest. So if you do feel like grabbing yourself a combine, that link will always get you the best rate. And I think actually the 28th is the last day that they're going to let me be an affiliate, because they're getting rid of the affiliate stuff and they're going to just go straight to influencers and bigger streamers. So maybe as this stream grows and I can prove to them that there's more interest in it, I'll get my link back. But if you feel like you want to grab a combine, I'll post that over in the YouTube as well. If anybody wants to grab a combine for the last month, the last hurrah of my affiliate link, there it is. I like Top Step the best. If you notice here, this is Top Step X. This is their proprietary platform that they have created. You get a lot of good things in Top Step X that you don't necessarily get across other platforms. Some of the big features, like I said, I'm not a Top Step shill. I'm totally for if you want to go to Apex. I've been funded by Apex before. They do have some payout issues and some of the rules I don't quite like, because with the trailing drawdown and stuff like that. But that's just personal preference. I don't have any problems with the company. I just think that some of what they do is a little sketchy, and there's a potential that you won't get paid out. I've never not gotten paid out by Top Step. They pay out every single time. There's no question about it. As long as you stick to the rules, you don't break rules, you're going to get your money, which is really something that I want out of a company. So that's why I push people towards Top Step, because in my history of trading with these funding companies, I find that since Top Step's been here the longest, they pay out every single time. They're not going to really question your payouts. unless they're really, if you're doing something where you open one account here and one account there and you're trading against yourself on the same IP address, doing some manipulation stuff, then you're going to get yourself into trouble. But otherwise, all those companies are going to find out if that happens. I don't think that that's something that you're looking to do. So like I said, TopStep pays out every single time. Been paid out multiple times from TopStep. They do have a good support staff, but this, besides that, this is their proprietary trading platform that they have developed specifically for them. They use TradingView charts. They don't have all the indicators that you could possibly get from TradingView, but they're adding stuff here and there that really make it a step above other platforms, right? This thing that you see on the bottom here is the tilt meter. If you can see it, let me see if it shows up. I'll pull it up a little higher so you can see it. This here is tilt. What tilt is an aggregate of every TopStep trader, and it shows how many percent of them are long, where their average longs are from, and obviously short, longer, short, longer, short. A lot of times you'll start to see when TopStep sim traders are heavy long, you're going to start to see fades. Usually what I start to see that is 80, 75, 80 plus percent. You're going to start to see price pull back the other direction. So we use the tilt in that way to kind of help our biases along the way. So that's one good feature of TopStep X. Another thing is it's pretty much the lowest commissions you're possibly going to get. Round trip, this trade right here, the one we took, I took 2 contracts on it, and it's $2.80 each direct. Pretty much since I took 2 contracts, right? Each contract is $2.80 round trip. So you can't really beat that when it comes to commissions. And then there's the biggest feature of all. This, if you look at my screen, top right corner here, you can see our realized P&L, our daily loss limit, personal daily profit target, and manual lockout. You click this manual lockout button right here. It locks you out for the day. It prevents that tilt. It prevents that FOMO. It does a whole lot for, that psychology of trading. So that is by far the biggest feature that I think is going to help so many different traders that start to get into that habit of, I can go take one more. I can take one more, either being up or down. You don't have your setup. If you feel like, hey, I'm good for the day, I hit that lockout button and it won't let you trade until 5 o'clock or whenever the market opens, wherever you're at that next trading session. NVIDIA did take that 129 level out, but I'm not at many of my key levels. So here's NVIDIA breaking through that 129 and failing it. I would have liked to short this. However, I don't have any key structure levels within my NQ to be taking that trade, right? 980s are reactive, so short there does make sense. I say 20,000's key psychological level. I would hate to front run 20,000 so far away when thinking that price is going to be magnetized to it. We're pushing up into it. We kind of just caught that bid. They're going to try and find people trying to pick tops at this point to try and push this even higher. I talked about that write-up. So if you go over to the write-up, if you click the link that's just above, or it's pinned in the YouTube to the top, that's going to show my outlook for the week. I talked about how 20,000 is very likely to come into play right around now or leading into Thursday. So there's that push to 20,000 as we held over 760. 610 up to 760, then 760 should propel us up to 20,000, 20,270, potentially by the end of the week, even by tomorrow. And then all-time highs before September 18th when that rate cut supposed to come. You can see this is, I got to refresh it, but this is our CME group. This is the Fed, whatever you call it, the Fed Watch. Sorry. This gives you the countdown to the next meeting and the chances of what the market is pricing in as far as a rate cut is concerned. 67% are saying that we're going to get a quarter of a basis point, and 32% saying that we're going to get more. And nobody is pricing in a hold or a hike. So that is telling that the market wants a cut. However, when we get to there, are we going to be at extreme greed? Are we going to be capitulatory at the top? And then historically on cuts, you do get some selling. pressure because you get some jubilation at the highs and then you rotate off. So do I think that day is going to be the immediate sell-off once that comes out? I don't think so. I think you'll get the jubilation. I think you'll get that capitulatory top. It may push even further to highs, but at some point that rate cut is going to lead to bigger players starting to sell to the people who are looking to buy the very tippy top. Overall, like I said, I'm being very cautious today. I understand what type of day it is. I don't want to give back, pretty much anything that I made. We talked kind of quickly about how I was going to short this 900 level based on the way that technically that was setting up. We were expecting this 9 o'clock non-farm revision to come out at 9. It never dropped. It didn't drop until 9:33. So it kind of shook algos out of it almost, and then got them to kind of react here and now. So let's see if this will fail this level, previous day highs. This is where I like to play my failed breakouts. However, pull back from there, bounce from 20s. 20s are reactive. 80s and 20s tend to be reactive in the NQ. So I would not take that first breakdown because it kind of doesn't really line up with my A+ strategy. If anybody in this room is looking to get a TradeCaster membership, if you're on your 7-day free trial or if you're kind of expired there and you're looking to get more access in here, you could always use code PolicingPips. Pips. Polic. Yeah, yep. Policing Pips there. That'll get you 10% off all of the memberships within TradeCaster. So don't be afraid to use that to get yourself a little bit of a discount in the TradeCaster world. It'll give you access to all the memberships. If you do go 6 months or better, you get the boot camp, all the recordings and whatnot as well. So that's definitely a benefit. Failing previous day highs, looking to accept back in. That number was negative. I did get NVIDIA to push up into 129. However, we are pulling back into structure at 128.50. So potentially a bounce from 128.50. And Microsoft pulled back to pretty much yesterday's, like high end of the day, support area. But it is pulling back now into VWAP. Heavier selling. So push down into 900 potentially. This did seem trappy at that area. I talked about I wanted to short because of NVIDIA right here. Failing that high. That was where I wanted to short this. If I really just wanted to play purely NVIDIA on my NQ, I really could have. Once I failed that level at 943, we come over here at 943. You literally could have sold the top and been pretty safe. Based on the way NVIDIA was acting from 129.12 and down and through previous day highs. Watch overnight highs. If this low of the day breaks, then I would be interested in this rotating all the way down through overnight lows. I was considering 20,000 coming into play around the jobless information tomorrow, but we got surprise jobless information today, which was definitely negative. So this was sort of trappy. Didn't quite get us to 20,000. Microsoft is dancing around with VWAP. There's a very heavy sell-off there. Very, very nice from that high. Like I said, I never got over 20,000. I'm reluctant to front run that kind of number, although it does, just thinking about it today, you can see how it worked out just purely based on trading the NVIDIA chart. This is getting heavy. It is getting heavy quick. It's increased volume. Hell yeah. Good job, Zuka-san. That boy. I like it. 2 from 920 down to VWAP. That's awesome. That's exactly what I like to see. Failed break of the previous day high, down to VWAP. If you had 2 and you take 1 off at VWAP and you continue to rotate down, then potentially that makes sense. We are back at overnight highs where there's been support. Does it break and bounce, or do we continue to the downside? Could probably see some support here with NVIDIA bouncing slightly at 128 even. But if 128 gives up and we start to rotate through the low of 127.73, then you get this to continue down through opening range low. There is the heaviness. Uh, Really nice failure of that previous day high. Another failure of the overnight high, getting through VWAP without much issue, but holding that opening range high. See what kind of delta we got. Good to buy. Heavy delta, making new lows in delta, not making new lows in price, hanging around VWAP. Price is now moving pretty quickly. This is what we kind of expected out of that number, but I didn't want it to get up that high. There's heaviness. Boom. I want to see what happens at the overnight low. We can't. I personally don't trade within 5 minutes of an hourly close. We're about 8 minutes out. To me, that's another reason to kind of just pause and wait, let that hourly dance around a bit, and then give myself an opportunity to get setups. That's me just avoiding doing dumb shit, right? This is really good opportunities, right? I talked about the short here at 9. I talked about the short there at 980, both of which I didn't take. Well done, Zuki. I will definitely be here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. as always in the Central Time. I don't know if you're in Central or how Mountain Time works. I forget when it does change and when it doesn't change, or if you're in Central, or I don't know how much of Arizona's changes. But overall, like I said, good call outs. I'm just trying to show the discipline of being able to only execute when my setup comes into play, and that's how I stay profitable longer term. That's how I'm able to get payouts from these companies. Just being stingy with my setups. Yes, movements happen. I can call it out. If there's a reason why you would have took it, then it's great. I love that you took it. It's fantastic. So I'm glad that people are capitalizing on the talking through some of these moves, even though I'm not necessarily taking a lot of them, which I may start, as I see them coming more and more and more. I may start implementing them as I have more size and buffers and building some of these combines up to being able to get back to my 5 XFAs. And like I said, I really want to be able to capitalize on September price action. August has been a killer for me most years, and it's no different this year. So I didn't take that into account for the first week, and then that kind of got me back into reset mode, which is fine. I want to see if the overnight low will come into play. That would help. If we can get Microsoft down to 422.50 again while we're in this zone, down to 760. 760 is a huge support level. So if we can flush 760, pushing the previous day low, I will definitely try to play a pop off 760. You can see yesterday how we kind of reacted at 760. Here's yesterday. 760 bounce, 760 bounce. Tried to come back to it, never got there. Is there a chance that we sweep it and come back down here again today? Absolutely. 20,000 was that area where I was interested for the day to be kind of the high. We never made it to 20. But if we sweep overnight lows, that number was super negative though. So to come up, sweep previous day highs, I don't know if we're going to get better numbers tomorrow. Is that why they're going to kind of rotate this around? We'll see. But fail break of 760 would be my next area of interest. I have 5 minutes till the hourly close. So for me, sitting on my hands, patient. This is where I notice a lot of manipulation occur. This is where I tend to let markets settle in for that hourly, let the bigger participants decide on what they're going to do come 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time here. NVIDIA is flushing that low. Could push into 126.97, which will also coincide with Microsoft pushing into 422.60, 422.50, right? You can see that pushing down. NVIDIA also pushing down towards 126.97. And then obviously we're pushing right towards that overnight low. I'm going to use the bathroom real quick while I can't execute, and I'll be right back. Once again, I want to welcome everybody that hasn't been here before, who wants to learn about everything that we're doing, teaching, preaching here. Just trying to say that, when markets move, doesn't mean I necessarily have trades. Yes, this is a really good opportunity. Yes, I talked about, we could see this possibility here based on the confluences that we got with NVIDIA, with Microsoft, with the number that we kind of came out with, all of which point to potential rotations, right? We called out this short here, this short there, this one here, and potentially this long right here at that overnight high. I didn't take the breakdown because I anticipated possibly a pop, and just the slow price action into a wedge pushing up. And we are in an uptrend, right? So technically, still being in an uptrend, this swept the low of the day here right there at 813 and did not accept below the low of the day. So being cautious on this, seeing if it's going to push down. It's not aggressive through here. I want to see a bit more in NVIDIA and in Microsoft, both of which did not quite make it to that low that I would like to buy from. Could we get that leg down come 10 o'clock, push us through the overnight low, and then rotate us down? If you get back above VWAP, which is a back over overnight highs, does it accept and continue to rotate? And do we stay inside? Is this just a sideways day? This is not, you can see, very sideways. We have held above the opening range pretty much the entire day, except for right here and pretty much on the first 5 minutes. Deck will be live later on today. Two minutes till that hourly close here. I want to kind of go through. We're doing our best to be patient, cautious, keep our money if we can, but also call out the trades that I do see potentially coming in our levels, our key levels, and just how to manage risk, how to mitigate your risk, how to kind of understand what type of day it is. Every single day in your preparation, you should come into here. So I do it weekly, right? I release that weekly write-up. I come in here, I type out my levels. I give myself, what does this week look like? And basically how I do it is I go into the week looking back at the week prior. I see what kind of price action we have experienced the previous week, where we're headed, where we were, why we went from there to there, what kind of levels we got. I just go into the basic releases, earnings, news, events, all that fun stuff. Then I go into my key levels looking ahead. So I look back a little to look ahead to kind of get a good understanding of what kind of price action we're going to get for the week ahead. And then as I, use all those events, the news, the data releases, I can kind of gauge what each day will bring based on that. So if you go into each day after doing your weekly, forecast, if you do it yourself, you could just handwrite it, you could type it up, you could even just look at news events, understand kind of just when things are going to happen throughout the week, and then just go step by step by step, and then say, okay, early in the week, probably lower data, probably lower volume. It is summer months. Are we going to get a lot of expansionary, or are we going to get sideways chop, or are we going to get a good bull trend? If we hold X level, are we going to go this way? If we break through that level, are we going to go the other direction? It's all things you kind of have to think about going into each and every day. So for me today, still, it was a lower volume day, it's a summer month. It's the middle of the week. It's, we got a surprise bit of data. So that kind of made us think that we were going to get a bit of whippy expansionary price action. However, that number got manipulated during our session. So another reason of, okay, it didn't get released. We didn't get the algo movement that we would have expected on the data because it didn't come, but we also got manipulation before it came out. So it was interesting to just kind of observe, watch, not have to execute on it, right? We took our one normal A+ first trade of the day, and then now we have been patient waiting for that next setup, which should come down here around that 760 if we can get down through lows. Now that it is 10 o'clock, I do give myself the opportunity to execute again. So Microsoft needs to be, 423 has acted as support today. So 423 acting as support again. NVIDIA also swept lows of the previous swing at 127.50, swept that low, found support there, and now it's trying to push back down again. So hopefully we can get down to 126.97. Same thing I thought on the top end of that range. I wanted the bottom, right? What I saw up here, right there, I wanted to short this there, and I wanted to go long off of the bottom. Really, that's just how I want to see today to go. Same deal on Microsoft. I'd rather see it get to that 422.50. We saw that bounce over here as well. We never quite made it to the high, which is okay because we did make it to high of pre-market. So that's kind of another reason why that long made that short there was reactive a bit. But let's see if we can get this to come down into this level here and make some movement happen in our trades. So I watched the two heaviest weighted names in the index, right? The Mag 7, the 7 biggest market cap names, tech weighted, right, are going to drive 33% of the NASDAQ. So lately, this whole year, it used to be Apple a little bit more. Apple has kind of disconnected from the NQ directly. I don't see direct correlation from it as much this year. It's been NVIDIA and Microsoft that have driven the NASDAQ pretty much directly. So you could trade the NASDAQ based off of Microsoft and NVIDIA key levels. There are times where Tesla just does wild stuff and it disconnects and it connects with the NASDAQ, but it just depends on the day. You just kind of have to note that. Pretty much the whole last few months, it's only been NVIDIA. You could have not even looked at Microsoft and been fine, but the last 2 days I've noticed that Microsoft has been kind of helping this cause a bit. So I've started to include Microsoft a bit more just based on the way it's been acting around these levels. And once again, we never made it down to the lows, so we didn't make it to overnight lows for our trade there. But you can see I did talk about longs possibly from 800 down through 760, and we never even made it to 800, right? We stopped twice on a dime right before 800 even populated. Let's see what kind of delta we got. It's starting to curl up, but you're not seeing the same kind of delta that you're seeing in the price action, right? So you're seeing price try to make new highs in this little consolidation. And even here, while price was trying to make higher level, breach this opening range high, you see delta aggressive sellers still stepping in at that point. And still now, we're not quite getting there. We just got a bit of data lag. So my latency usually ticks up when there's like crazy volume, which is odd. I don't know why my computer does that. I don't know if it's the broker or if it's just shit luck. But tilt's 50-50, 67% long on the S&Ps, now starting to creep up, 62% long in the NQ. Overnight highs are coming back into play. However, I don't know if they're going to be in play for short at the moment. We are below VWAP, which is nice. I would love to see overnight lows get tagged. I am super patient. Like I said, I only took one trade so far today. We are up on the day. Could be up more, could be up less. Either way. Two other really good executions right here and right here. We talked about that short there and then this short at the high, all of which kind of coincided with key levels on NVIDIA as well as delta divergences here in the NQ. So if anybody has any questions kind of about what I'm looking at or, any comments on, seeing why I'm seeing what's happening when it's happening, just let me know so I could kind of go a little bit deeper into it, because I am going to just, while I'm on stream, I do try to fill up the time as much as I can in between levels where I necessarily won't be executing with good, try to help out as best I can, because I will be just talking and talking and talking. If you don't understand anything that I'm saying, type it into the chat. There are no dumb questions. Trading is hard. It's all, just coming in and being consistent day in and day out and trying to do your best. And for me, like I said, I want to just be able to provide as much value to you guys as possible while you're here. So if you have any questions over on YouTube, type it in. If you're in Tradecaster, same deal. I monitor both chats. Alrighty. Anybody looking to grab a combine, do it. Do the link in the chat. I posted it on the YouTube and on Tradecaster. If you're looking to get a Tradecaster membership, use code PolicingPips. It'll get you 10% off all of your memberships at Tradecaster.com. Get you full access to everything that's paid within the community. Deck, AK, everybody, all the education videos, all that stuff, you will get access to if you use my code. If you are a coffee drinker like myself, or if you just like the cool mugs that we have and shirts and hats and all that stuff, go over to daytradingcoffeeco.com. This is where I post all my analysis, my weekly stuff. So if you go to the education tab, you'll always find the analysis. But if you go over to the shop, of course, you can get yourself coffee, your trading fuel. And, we have every roast. We have 10 different roasts from light roast all the way up to dark and espresso. We definitely recommend you ordering it through the website. Use code PolicingPips. Get yourself 15% off. But also, everything that's ordered through the site is freshly roasted on demand. So if there's no I don't have a bunch of bags sitting around me. When that order gets placed, the roaster gets it directly and he roasts it right on order for you. So it's all small batch stuff, never sitting on a shelf, never going to get old, stale coffee. It's all going to be delivered to your door. And if you don't trust me, you can ask anybody in the chats, anybody in Instagram. Go follow us at Day Trading Coffee Co. on Instagram, on Twitter as well. I'm on there. Follow me at Policing Pips on every platform that you can find me. Mainly Instagram. I do some Twitter, just more so following than posting. And then also in obviously Tradecaster and YouTube. So that's the plug of the day here. Currently, like I said, I'm very patient. I want to see things do more, right? We're getting diminishing volume here. We are approaching the overnight highs once again. I think that potentially with the way that Microsoft and NVIDIA have now found more buyers down at the lows from the day, could just continue to be rotational and, watch those names push us back up over these levels. If not, once we get to overnight lows, I would like to find a buy set up somewhere down at these lows for us to push up to 20,000. But that's just my thought process on it. We did sweep and hold the low of the day here at 813. The low of the day was made at 835. Then we obviously swept it a few times, found support. And now we're rotating back up, like I said, up to overnight highs. That 1 minute opening range there is what we're holding currently. So we are technically positive on the day for the index. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but we have a gated complex here, and one of the exit gate is stuck partially open, and an alarm is going off on it. So it's kind of annoying, but hopefully you can't hear it in the background. But I hear it, and every once in a while it's just kind of I kind of put it to the back of my head, and then all of a sudden I hear it again. So trying my best to ignore it. Overall, good day. I mean, like I said, everybody who traded early made some really good money. Being green any day is great, especially on a day like today where it seemed like they were doing a lot to manipulate, based on data. based on price action. We were able to kind of talk through each and every short that we wanted, and then potentially even this long right here. Like I said, I didn't take it, but you could see that was going to be something that was of interest right there with the hold of the overnight high. And then down here again, I wanted to see this down below the overnight low, but looking at these levels there, it was kind of hard not to say that this low of the day retest and then the sweep of it failing to break that 800 level really kind of shows that wanted to rally off of there, with Microsoft and Nvidia both rallying from lows and never quite making it to that next level of support. So pretty much an inside type day for Nvidia and in Microsoft. So not anything that's relatively expansionary. So every little bit of high and low should get sold and bought, rotationally. But I wouldn't be surprised personally if the NQ found a bottom there at 800, just front running 800 up through 20,000. This sell-off seems like it wanted to be the correct move. However, we never got to 20,000, and I think 20,000 will be a magnet. At some point, it will get tagged. Will it go today? Possibly. I think it does show strength here. If Nvidia gets back to 129.12, I will watch it closely. See if it will fail it again. 128.50 as well is a key level that I will watch. 128.57. Yeah, 128.57. It'll be a nice area for an idea. If we get a failed break of this again, overnight low, overnight high, if it holds below this overnight high again and rotates towards the bottom, could take a quick short on it. $880s. Once again, I talked about the 80s and the 20s reactive within the NASDAQ. I guess it's just like a nice, standard deviation away from the whole number where people tend to get psychologically inclined to hit buttons at those levels. I don't have an exact science for you, so I can't just make it up. I think that's just kind of how it goes. It's just a psychological type thing. 63% long on the tilt on the NQ, 67% long in the S&Ps. Microsoft holding VWAP, Microsoft holding VWAP, Nvidia also holding 128, looking like it's potentially wanting to continue up to 128.50. But nothing that's telling me short yet. Failure of the overnight high would be nice. However, it's VWAP, so it could pull through here and support at opening range, right? Support, trap of shorts, rotate it back higher. On these slower grinding days, now that data is gone, and then leading up into 1 o'clock for that FOMC meeting, minutes where it's gonna just give you revisions. I think that's gonna be a little bit of algo movement, but like I said, we already know what they said at the meeting last week. So last month, it's not gonna be a very big surprise on what they talked about, because Jay Powell pretty much talks in circles, but also says same thing every single time. It'll just kind of give an indication of how many voting members made what kind of comments about cuts moving forward. I don't have very many ideas for this. Oh, what the hell is that? That was weird. That was very weird. Delta still not pushing up to those highs, right? Very flat Delta, not aggressive buyers here at the value area high. You want to see more aggressive buying coming in here. This is passive buying. It's lack of participants here. You do have a volume node up here at 880, so pushing up through 880, up into 900. Like I said, 900 does seem to be a good area for interest. So, watching this where a price doesn't want to get through something like 900, 40-something contracts sitting at 900. If it can't get through there and you start to see heavy delta, that should give you an indication of a seller coming in, right? Slowing down of price action here. Slowing down of aggressive buyers at a key level. Now you're looking to see, will it continue to sell or is it going to hold? Looks like it wants to sell. These sells have been coming in kind of quick and hard, so I will consider that if it does want to give one of those heavy flushes again, just to have it out there just in case. Do I think it's going to happen yet? Not necessarily. I think it's got another leg up to 900. Russell pushing up, still below the opening range, however. Got my Top Step hat. I bought it, so don't think I'm sponsored or anything like that. I just respect the company that will pay me out, and I try to show the support for this platform, providing opportunity for people to make some money. And Microsoft looking to reject VWAP to rotate lower below 424, possibly pushes us down to lows. And then NVIDIA also looking like it's trying to break through for 128. If NVIDIA can break through 128, maybe we get triggered in and we could take this to low. And then potentially with that, if that can get us down here, we could look for the long from the bottom. S&P held overnight highs. Price trying to push up. Delta still not following through. No aggressive buying happening. If S&P gives up this overnight high, I think that we give up the overnight high here as well. Could potentially front run it to 80. But NVIDIA, once again, trying to stay strong, trying to hold 128. NVIDIA's mid-range between the high and the low of where I would consider the high and the low. Microsoft also trying to push down from VWAP. Here's a sell. Let's see if a seller will step in or if it's going to manipulate here and then rotate back. Like I said, I'm willing to risk it, take the chance on this overnight high break based on the way all of the selling has come in. If we get heavy sellers through to push us down, then we get triggered in and hopefully can get a long from the overnight low. That's where I want it to be. Microsoft's not following through on the sell through 424. I'm going to give it a shot on this combine. What are you going to do? I'll be quick to trail. Aggressive seller. Buyer stepping back up. $10:20 here, Central Time. We're going into the last couple minutes of Euro trading. I'm gonna get rid of this order. If it fails now and rotates down, I'm okay with it. I really still want to get down to overnight lows for me to make any sort of executional decisions. Does this seem like it wants to melt hard quick through the VWAP? It does. It feels heavy, but NVIDIA is still holding 128 very strong. Microsoft is dancing with 424, so they're diverged a bit. Slightly, right? NVIDIA is still kind of relatively strong in the way that it's acting. So I think that any follow through here probably manipulates us. It traps you short through the VWAP and gets something possibly looking like that, the way this looks here, where it snaps into the opening range high and then pops. Can I be quick and get in and get out to doing something like that? I possibly could. But I just, at the moment, I don't really want to be playing around VWAP. Usually my goal is to enter and take trades back to VWAP, right? So this is not extended from VWAP. It is VWAP, right? Overnight high currently is the volume average weighted price. I don't necessarily want to execute so much at that price. If it does work, it works. Great. Awesome. It could work. There is a probability that it does short through here and at least tag off on 40, 45. However, my goal is to mean revert. So if I could get down through overnight lows or get through previous day highs currently, which are extended from VWAP, I want to have that extension and then that snap back like a rubber band, right? I want that rubber band to get extended and then pull back. And that's kind of what we got here. I just didn't execute on it, right? That would have been a beautiful take. I know that Zuka-san took that 20 down to VWAP, which is a perfect move. You know, kind of what I'm seeing here is that S&P is holding VWAP and we're not quite ready to break down. If I see S&Ps give a hard snap through this level and NQ didn't do it yet, then maybe if it gives me the opportunity and the timing to be able to short it, I would. However, I don't want to just do it on that first break if NQ is going to do it right away. Because you can see NVIDIA here. Look at NVIDIA kind of pushing up, basing a little bit. Yes, it's kind of creating an idea where it could go short, kind of get heavy right now and snap to the downside. That will help us down to the overnight lows where we could possibly look to get those buys, where it's, for me, a lot higher probability where the failure happens, the rotation can come from it. I don't want to be just playing in the middle of the range. You can see how reactive it's getting. It's slow price action. Before we got this, straight to the high side. Do I want to be the person who gets bottom ticked in just below this level and it bounces and snaps to the high side? It's a very unpredictable type of day. So I don't want to be the one that's, you know, losing my marbles on just subpar. You know, this is a good trade if it does melt. However, it's just not something I want to be involved in right now with S&Ps relatively holding above opening range, holding above VWAP, holding above overnight highs. That could lead to that secondary snap to the high side. It's trying to go down, right? Microsoft's pushing down. NVIDIA is still trying to break through that low of 128. But it's still not giving you a heavy breakdown. And like I said, the breakdowns have been quick, hard. They've been snapping, right? They come in and they come in fast. This has yet to come in hard. If it does break through this level, through 60, probably does go quickly to the downside. And there's a snap of it. So there's a snap break. Does it now rotate back up? Like, this is not quick enough right away for me. There we go. Push down to 45 likely if this gives up. If not, if this is going to be that failure, then watch for that snap to highs. Microsoft didn't give you a heavy breakdown. Neither did NVIDIA. So this could be trappy and rotate out. Very good on me personally to just take that off the table. I don't, just the way price was moving there. Slower, grinding type move, manipulative. Yes, it could go now, but could have been already stopped. And then also could even snap and rally from here because Microsoft found a bid. NVIDIA still hasn't broke down. That was manipulative to the downside, potentially rotate long through overnight high up to previous day high again. Either way it could go. I don't want to be in a 50-50 trade. I want to be in a 70-80% likelihood where my trade's going to work out. Now, if we get something where it looks like this, that move possibly looks better to me. Get up over 80s, snap in, come back down, try to test it again, then break through. That seems more likely to me. You can kind of see it, the higher low here at 900. That was a good hold by me, not taking that trade. Pat myself on the back for not getting myself manipulated there. That would have easily snapped me out, and I would have taken the loss and been disappointed that I did not see that coming with the way that the equities are acting, the way that NVIDIA held 128, the way that Microsoft held the bottom end of VWAP, kind of the higher low that it's kind of putting in now. Could it push down? Absolutely. At any point, it could do anything, but I don't like to react. I don't like to trade around VWAP, especially with not a lot of, we don't have enough wiggle room, right? If we had some wiggle room, yeah, it makes some sense. But Where are we according to anchored VWAP from the opening trade? From the low of the day, we anchor the VWAP from the low of the day there. That yellow line. Oh no, the red line. The red line there is the daily VWAP from the low. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, ideas? What are you looking at? What do you want me to kind of go over for the rest of the session? Because right now I don't have, of course, my VWAP disappeared somehow. Did that clicking the mouse do that? That's weird. I can click my wheel and delete. Oh, interesting. You learn something new every day. You click the wheel on the indicator, it deletes. So just so you're aware. I was wondering why sometimes it would go away. This is the low of day VWAP. I mean, from the opening range low. Could go to the open, anchor it to that, but I don't really use that in my trading. I just wanted to kind of see where we were at with that. There's your NVIDIA push off of 128. Found support there again. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Does it clear the high of 128.50? Right, I was talking about 128.50 being the area where it could possibly sell from. So if we do get up into that 128.50, 128.57, kind of wick into that level there, right? Come into here, right there. If that kind of level pops in, you poke your head above it and fail it again, potentially could give us an opportunity for that short. Or it could just continue to rotate in this box, right? That box there could easily be, that could be it. That could be the range for the day. Microsoft a little bit heavier. And there's our, what I kind of drew up before, right? That push up, down. I wanted to get up over or near 80. Got to 80, and now it's pushing back down here. Another higher low. I don't trust this price action at all. It is sideways, choppy. We have 1 minute really left in this with the European session, and then 30 minutes left in the stream. I'm going to try and go over anything that anybody wants to go over. If nobody else wants to go over anything, I'm just going to kind of ramble and man my way through the rest of the day. Likely that I probably don't get another execution because I want to be up above previous day high or down below overnight lows. That's really the areas of interest. Overnight high is normally my reactive area. I did take the failed break of overnight high right here. This is the only trade of the day that I took. We took this short on this candle right there. Took it down right to the base. We took two contracts. Took one off at 50, and the other one we broke even on. So nice little 230 something bucks on the day for that trade there. Could this play again? Absolutely. But, you want one more like this or like this. We called out the short from 900 right there based on, spilling our coffee. Give me a second. 1 minute. Yeah. Of course, I spill it right on my phone. I get very handsy. I am Italian, so handsy. Talking with my hands. That's why I spill a lot, I think. Top Step did implement hotkeys, and I have them kind of set up, but I don't. Sometimes they work. I didn't have them really. I didn't test them out, and I don't want to be hammering into things just to test it. We talked about the short from here, the short from there, this short up top from that 980 level, talking about that from the failure of the NVIDIA trade from the highs at 129.12. Hopefully we can get down through this overnight low. I think we can, if we can sweep lows into that 760 area, we can get a nice bounce from there. It's just, when will it happen? Never quite made it there in the Microsoft. Never quite made it to lows in Nvidia. We are trying to be heavier Delta, right? Still pushing lower, and there's not a big change in Delta. It's just sideways. So that kind of told us about the sell up here at 886 based on the way that this was staying heavy. I use that to my advantage a lot of times. Can we crack this? Does this start to lead to heavier selling? Hopefully we get through this low, we can get into the overnight lows, and we can get a bounce play from 760. See if we can get that before 11 o'clock. Would that make that short from the overnight high valid? It would. But like I said, the way price action is acting up here, it's not conducive to my setup, right? If it just grinds and goes straight down, it never really set up for like a failed break, snap. I want to be away from VWAP. I don't want to be on VWAP. Like Deck mentioned there in the chat, we are expecting hype to push this market to all-time record highs. I think that is very likely. I've been mentioning that for the last week or so. I think that's a general kind of consensus of market participants who have been in this market longer term, kind of just noting. I talked about that yen carry trade sell-off being not really a scare tactic, but a really great opportunity to buy from. Once that extreme fear stepped in, that was a perfect opportunity for anybody who's looking for longer-term buy and hold type ideas, or to be able to catch a bounce from that low. I mean, we've been nothing but up since then. So, we called that bottom there. Will we probably be able to see where the top comes in? There's going to be a good chance that rate cut is going to be that capitulation, what drives us to that extreme greed, and then rotates us back to healthier positions come election time and whatnot. So that's the reason I'm trying to get everything healthily funded up for September, because I think the price action leading into September is going to be kind of grinding to the upside, not really giving me tons of opportunities. Although today there were 3 really good opportunities. I just didn't capitalize on 2 of them. It's fine because they weren't right where I wanted to take them. Could have shorted through 20 like Zuki down to VWAP. In hindsight, it's always nice. And even now, hindsight of this trade working from 63 down to 45 and then below. Would love to see this down at overnight lows. Really prefer to see it down to 760 to rotate us back through overnight lows. This is how you develop patience, kind of just understanding the way the market actually moves, where it wants to be, where it should get to, and if it doesn't get to those areas, are there really opportunities, or is it more just price being driven around by lower volume behavior and high frequency trading? I want to avoid the HFT stuff, right? I want to not be in this chop from 10 to 10:30 here. I want to be in moves like this. I want things to happen quickly. These downside moves, even this upside move here where you see support, bounce. These are the types of moves you have to be able to time, and you have to have confluences to kind of tell you that. Does this kind of continue now to grind upside, or will we rotate even further and get ourselves involved at the levels we want to get involved at? Give me a second. Alrighty. More grind, low volume. Look at that volume. Just consistently pushing down lower. Unfortunately, didn't catch that move that Zuki caught, or the one that I called out here. So calling out that one and that one, 2 really good bangers. Overall, like I said, I'm just trying to grind these accounts up. Make sure everything is on the up and up. Microsoft has been really stuck in this this VWAP with the standard deviations. It's kind of rolling on the bottom band of standard deviation from VWAP. If it does clear and break down and start to expand out, I think we can get to our level and then finally look to rotate back up. The NVIDIA, though, it flushed through down that low and then immediately recovered it right back to 128. So NVIDIA has kind of just been straight sideways for the day. Obviously, we pushed up, and that short opportunity that I talked about from 129.12 really became a key level for the short opportunities. So, understanding levels throughout every asset class can really help you develop a really good trading strategy, right? It's all about levels. It's all about timing and allowing things to kind of tell you what it wants to do. What's the likelihood that it wants to expand out of this range? What's the likelihood that it wants to stay within this range? What kind of day are we having? What kind of news do we have? What kind of data is released? All that stuff. I'm trying to spill my coffee all day. I gotta drink the rest of it before I get it spilled. All right, so now we're starting to see some more heaviness. Let's see if it'll actually follow through to the downside or if we're just going to get just continued back and forth, right at the point of control here at 855. VWAP, point of control, very tight value area. From value area high to value area low, it's 310 ticks, 77 points. Very, very tight range for a day. Even with an expansionary piece of the day, the value area still stays tight right here between these two levels. Most orders of the day, 75% of the orders are in between these two, this yellow box, right? So price wants to be here. It's executing within here. There's nothing telling it to get out of that range. So what we can hope for is bottom end of value is 800-ish. So maybe we get something similar to what we saw here where we expanded out of value right there and then returned back in. If we can get through the low and through overnight lows, right? We can get through this part of the value area, potentially very similar, rotate back up. But we need to get down and through it. And currently we're just kind of grinding sideways at VWAP. And, with my time constraints, I only like to trade till 11 o'clock. There's really a lot after that becomes manipulative. I don't get the price action that I want. I get a little bit antsy, start to click buttons that I shouldn't be clicking. I understand myself. It's also just conducive to my timing of work and life and all that other stuff. So realistically, we are going to probably not end up getting another trade here today. We have 20 minutes left in the trading session for me. So I appreciate, like I said, everybody who's come by, all the new people, all the regulars, everybody on YouTube, everybody on Instagram that comes by and follows me. Go over to Instagram, follow me at Policing Pips. I'll post some education stuff. I'll post content here and there. Most of what you'll get, is my streaming schedule. Also, when I release the write-up, all that stuff. Let's see. Preliminary estimate of this is not tradable, right? I want you to stay out of this trash, right? I set that order there initially, and I said, nah, that's not going to be good. Even if it does kind of sell and roll over, that's not the kind of movement I want. I wanted to see these kind of snappy moves, right? And now that you're getting this grinding price action, at any point in time, it can snap right back up. You can see the support here, bounce, right? If we kind of break it, then we continue to grind lower. Can we get a nice little volume push down through these lows? That's really what I want to see. I want to get it heavy quick so then I can fade that to the high side, because I think we're still in a bullish environment even with that bad data revision. Microsoft on that lower band once again. NVIDIA still dancing around at 128, holding below 128 right now, but nothing that's
much different than what you're seeing on the NQ. Kind of very sideways, lower volume, summertime months. Like I said, either direction could go, based on the way this has been winding up. I'm more apt to think that it will bounce. However, I would love to see a sell so I can get involved before 11 o'clock. If the setup comes in at around 11, I'll stay on till 11:15, depending on how it looks. Yesterday, we got the bounce from there at 12, that 760 level from 12 o'clock Central Time. Let's see if we can get this to go. We're at back-to-back green days here at the moment. Unless we get through that overnight low, fail, and we take the loser on it. Even then, we're only going to be risking about 200 on the trade because I'm not going to go heavy leveraged in. I'm going to just try my best to catch that bounce on our normal setup. But if it's not going to get there, if we're just going to continue to do this grounding action, even if it gets there at some point today, yes, I think that that's where it will bounce from. So if you are somebody who stays on and trades the entire day, the entire session, wants to see where there's going to be a bounce, I would definitely look to see what happens around 760. This area here is going to be very interesting, right? Price could get anywhere within there and fail. You can do this and fail. You could do this and fail. You could go all the way through and fail down to here, come back up through 760. These are all types of scenarios that where I would expect a bounce from. Today doesn't seem like a day where it wants to expand. It wants to be tight. It wants to be inside range. Could it continue and continue? Like, could you get another leg like this? You could, but then you could get another grinding type move to the upside. The likelihood of 760 failing, though, to me, and there's not a ton of data that's going to say that. I mean, that revision is not good. All right, I'm still waiting for that level. I'm going to use the bathroom one last time, and we're going to finish off this stream. Right back to that overnight high. Okay. Microsoft still giving you that grind to the lower end. If I were a betting man, I would be betting that the people who are trading Microsoft directly have found that 423 level is another area to try and play bounces. I'm going to buy it till it gives up. If 423 gives up, then I'm going to expect 422.50 to come in. But as of right now, 423 even is the area where Microsoft has had the most interest. Bounce. 423 is right here. This is 423 even. Let's go 423 right there. Risking a couple pennies. Everybody, all these people who trade Microsoft playing bounce plays here, also getting like that wedge type pattern. You could start to see maybe a short squeeze type move. Unless that 423 buyer gives up. I'm not on the level twos. I can't see what's going on behind the scenes in Microsoft, but I can tell you that there's probably a big buyer that sits at 423. If that gives up, if that buyer disappears, then you would anticipate this to flush and probably break low of the day, which would put us into that area where I think that our overnight lows get that opportunity, right? So that's where I would be more interested in that. All right. All right. We got about 15 minutes left in the stream. Very sideways, shitty price action right now. Don't go forcing things in during the middle of the day. If you are, like I said, if you're somebody who's going to sit here all day, be mindful of Microsoft 423. Be mindful of our overnight lows and 19,760 as a level of support. If that gives up, then 610s are the bottom end of that zone. However, I don't think that is likely. I think we're in more of a rotational day, especially until tomorrow's jobless claims number that comes out pre-market 7:30 tomorrow morning. This is going to definitely have some help in the decision-making process on whether that Fed rate cut happens or not. And then you get the PMI flashes into 9 o'clock. PMI flashes at 8:45. Existing home sales at 9. So there is more data for Thursday and into Friday with the Jay Powell speaking at the conference at the Jackson Hole Symposium. So just things to note as you move forward for the rest of today into tomorrow and into Friday to the weekend really. That symposium's going on, and today's kind of revision was slightly concerning, even though a lot of us who kind of watched the data here and there pretty much thought that was the case. I think that they were kind of falsely reporting some of these numbers. And now that they're revising them to the actual numbers, you get a little bit of concern maybe with Powell's decision on the rate cut. I do think that everything's pricing in a rate cut. There's the heaviness finally breaking through that opening range low for the S&Ps. So see if we can get down there. We have 10 minutes. Can we do it? Can we get to 760 before 11 o'clock? And if we are at that level around 11 o'clock, I'll hang around for a few more minutes just to see if we can get that set up and try and hammer it. That's interesting. 423 gave up. Look at that. Beautiful. 423 gave up. That buyer disappeared. He might have moved lower. So, like I said, I don't have the level twos. I'm not able to read any of that underlying data for you to kind of tell you what's going on within the dynamics of Microsoft. However, that 423 was very supportive most of the day, and now it's holding there. It's not flushing hard, but it's also not getting bid off of there. And it's the next touch. So I would like to see this. There's that breakdown of Microsoft. There we go. Beautiful break of Microsoft. 423 short to 422. 56 down to 55 is the low so far. I wanted to get down to 51. That's going to help the cause for this to get to overnight lows and beyond, down to 760. Watching for the bounce play at 760 if we can get there. If not, then the rotation back above overnight highs probably rotates you through highs the rest of the day because we haven't quite got low enough. Because NVIDIA is still holding relatively, not strong, but it's just not selling off hard. It's kind of just lingering there. Microsoft broke low of 422.50. Maybe Nvidia will catch up. Maybe we'll get the bounce for the close of this stream. I'm giving it a chance. I'm giving it that time to get to that overnight low. I really want to see overnight lows get broken. I want to see 800 flush. Overall, like I said, it could bounce from here, no problem. 800 does have an order that's sitting down there. I can't see it anymore because it ran away from it. 808s actually has 53 contracts. 808s flashing. Interesting. 808. It's got 53 contracts sitting at 808. Got a bounce from it. Microsoft flushed 422.50 and bounced. High or low here. If we break overnight highs, then that could, like I said, start the buying. I want these things to happen down a bit lower for me to actually get involved around my level. If it's just going to continue to be inside, 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 it just doesn't give me opportunities to limit risk and play clean bounces, right? That's just what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to kind of work these trades around key areas where I can make good decisions and not risk getting pulled deeper or whatever, right? I wait for the other end of the V and rotate down. I mean, if we clear above overnight highs, it's probably likely that you rotate back up. It is a rotational day. It's an inside day. Probably Microsoft got all the way down, flushed 422, flushed 423, went all the way down to 422.27, and now is kind of stuck in the middle there between 423 and 422.50. So maybe if Nvidia does catch up to the lows and gives you some selling, then you could possibly see if this will get to 760 and bounce. I don't think we have enough juice to get through 760, although if those other two names do start to sell off heavier, then potentially, yes, that is what would be more likely. But I don't think that they'll get too heavy. I don't think Microsoft has that much further downside. 421.50 maybe, 422, 421.82. Interesting areas for Microsoft. $10.55, about 5 minutes left in the stream. I appreciate everybody coming in here, being a part of this. New faces, old faces, every single day. We're growing the stream. We're providing as much value as possible. If I get this stream up to 100 viewers sometime soon, I'll probably do some sort of giveaway and make sure that we're ready to go to just continue to grow this account and build more and more and more viewership, provide value to as many people as possible. I'll probably give away some coffee, maybe some swag, shirts, hats. We'll see what I feel like giving away at that time. Probably be a very nice little bit of swag for that 100 view mark. So if you do have people that you bring in or know that want to trade or want to just get some giveaway stuff, bring in people. We get to 100 viewers in the Tradecaster room, we will do that giveaway. As we approach 500 likes on followers on Instagram, also we'll be looking to give away. So if you know anybody that hasn't followed us, or if you don't follow us, or if you want to just share our account at Day Trading Coffee Co. on Instagram, we'll get you to our page, share it up, like all of our content, do some commenting, really engage the comments, engage the viewership. The more we get, the better you'll be, and we can start to grow that funding fund. We're going to do a giveaway, like I said, at 500 followers, we'll do a giveaway. So we're a little bit away from it, not that far. So let's see if we can get it. Seems like this wants to approach that overnight low right at 11 o'clock. So like I said, if we get there at 11, I want to see the reaction we get and then make a decision. I'm trading NVIDIA more than I am trading Microsoft, although Microsoft is bringing us down a bit, helping this cause to the downside. I think, like I said, 421.80 was that area where that low probably comes in. $421 even. I do not trade stocks. I just use the Mag 7 names to my advantage to add confluence, because the Mag 7 names make up 30% of the NASDAQ index, and realistically, it comes down to Microsoft and NVIDIA, who are the largest cap stocks in the market for the NVIDIA. So what they do is they drag this market around, right? So you can see Microsoft breaking through lows. You can see NVIDIA also trying to sell off. Our sell order from 129.12 initiated the sell here, where that arrow is on our NQ. So I use the index. I trade futures, but I use the stocks and the equities to my advantage to help make decisions and add confluence. So that's a good question. I go through everything. So if anybody asks anything about a specific ticker or any sort of a futures contract or forex pair or whatever, anything that you see that potentially you want me to break down, I can pretty much go through most of the things, understanding correlations between certain things that go down in the macro economic environment as opposed to what that may lead to in other things, right? So today with the oil inventories, every Wednesday 9:30, you're getting that crude change, and then you got negative barrels. So I would assume that crude probably had a little bit of a pop, right? We get some crude, you get a pop in crude, and then a failure down to the lows. So you got a pop at 9:30, right? 9:30 gave you a pop, and then you got a failure at 74. So that inventory gave you that pop. You were right at some support or resistance, I guess, and you rotated right down to another area of support. With oil doing that, you're going to likely think that the Canadian dollar is also probably selling off at the moment, because Canadian dollar is directly correlated to what oil does. So there's that as well. So there's just a lot of things that I can do that kind of help you out. Canadian dollar, let's see. Canadian dollar popped and then now is selling off with it. So there you go, 10:30, 9:30. So with that oil inventory, you got a pop in the Canadian futures, and now with oil selling off, you're getting that selling pressure from the top with the CAD. So very interesting correlations there. But you'll see that across a lot of equities. Once you start to understand correlations and macroeconomic events, things of that nature, it does help make you make decisions within what you're trading, right? If NVIDIA can get to 126.97, 127, then this bounce could happen. As I mentioned, if I'm approaching this overnight low right at 11, I'm going to stay on for a few extra minutes just to see what happens. Not necessarily to execute, but I just want to see what happens. We are still showing relative support here. Haven't broke 800 yet. And let's see what's at. Do we have anything on the offer? Yeah, we have 90 contracts, 89, 90 contracts sitting on the bid there at 800. So could that give up and flush from that magnet pull there for that many contracts sitting on the bid, or is it going to catch the bid from 800 and rotate? S&P's is getting there first. It looks like S&P's wants to break through overnight lows there at 56.17 3/4, which I'm just making sure is correct, which looks correct there. Yeah, 56.17 3/4, just making sure that is the correct line. Sometimes I accidentally click it and move it. I want to see if S&P is going to react to it or not. And if the 808 level was important here, we had some decent size on it. You can see we got filled for 80 contracts there, 12. So a good 150 contracts got filled around that 808 to 810. If that continues to flush, 800 has 100 contracts sitting there. 800, and we flushed it, and we're pushing down to overnight lows. Now let's see if we're going to get a volume break of the overnight low down to 760, or are we going to just tag it and V-bottom? Microsoft, NVIDIA just got to 126.97, so this is an area where I would be interested in a bounce play for NVIDIA. If it breaks and flushes, then you don't want to play it, but wait for NVIDIA to break and hold at 126.80 maybe. If it holds, if you start to see a rotation to the high side, you can definitely look to see if we can get the rotation back the other direction in our equities here. But 760 is my ideal area for downside targets and bounces, right? NVIDIA still holding below that 127. Gonna wait, let this thing dance around just a bit more. Tell them to come in. Yeah, wait, let this thing dance around, let it get down to 760, flush down to those previous day lows, then start to rotate out. I'm going to stay on, let this stream run a little bit. I am going to just take care of my little boy for a second. I like the bounce, though. Hello. Maximus? You lose every time? Mommy doesn't go good. She's an African. Where's your clothing? Mommy said you have clothing? Oh, punch me. What? Oh, come on, Max. All right. Waiting for Maximus to play. Let's see. Let's see if we can catch a little bit of a bounce here. There it is. Pushing up to 90. NVIDIA wicked off 127 and then rotated. I'm focusing on the kid, so not quite ready to execute this. I would need NVIDIA to hold over 127, but it's still wicking that level. Looks like it wants maybe one more leg down. Alrighty. I'm not going to just hammer in. Distractions happen. Let's get you changed, buddy. Come on. Alright. We can get changed, then we can play the game. Okay? Mommy needs a nap.
And mommy said I can. And mommy said I can have a candy one. Everyone needed.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Alright, let's change. What are you doing? Don't fall. You fall down. You fall down. Oh, no pants. Good job. Mom, you got it. Did you go potty? You want to go potty? No, you're good. Cool shorts.
What's up?
Did you close the door for mommy so she can nap?
No.
Okay, we'll stay over here anyway. Here you go.
I can sleep with the door.
She can sleep with the door open. Okay, she's got to go to the doctor, the dentist. Get
What
her.
the heck?
She's got to go to the dentist.
Like us right now?
Yeah, she's got to go to the dentist.
Like us do?
Yeah, she's got to get her teeth.
And we do it too.
Yeah.
This is a little scary.
Yeah, a little scary, baby. Okay, you want to play your thing right here in your seat? Look at this.
No.
What do you want to play?
I want you to do tricks on it.
Tricks. Okay, let's go turn off the. I'm gonna go turn off my computer and then we'll.
And I'm not gonna close my door.
You're not gonna. Okay, we'll close mommy's door.
I said I need.
Alrighty. Alright, there's that bounce that we got. Looking at that to retest the overnight low. I got to take care of my kids. Stream goes to 11. I appreciate everybody coming by. As always, I'll be on tomorrow again at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. I appreciate you all coming here. I will talk to you all later. It has been a pleasure. Like I said, always come back here 8:30 a.m. and we'll call it again. I think that we do bounce here, and I think I missed the entry, taking care of my son, but I think the bounce from the overnight low, we already are up, 10 plus points, 15 points on that entry. So if you were to get one off and get one to even, now you're up, another couple $100. So I think the rotation happens up through 800. You squeeze up, and with Nvidia holding that 127, you're good.
Stop doing it.
Come say goodbye.
Why did you turn this
I
off?
didn't. Come say goodbye to everybody, and then we'll go. Come on. Come say goodbye. You got to say hi.
Bye.
Oh, you got to come on the camera, dude. You want to see yourself? Say bye. Oh, come on. There you are. Yeah. Say bye.
Bye.
Say trade smart.
Say some more.
All right, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Tomorrow, 8:30.